Okay, so in this video, we're going to look at how to calculate descriptive statistics in the TI-83-84. And again, typically, if you're in one of the newer 84s, you want to be in classic mode, but otherwise, these should be relatively similar to each other. All right, so the TI-83 or 84 are going to give you a set of descriptive statistics based on data that you enter into the lists. So they're going to generally give you things like the sample mean, the sample standard deviation, the population standard deviation, the sample size, and the 5-number summary, the min, the first quartile, the median, the third quartile, and the maximum. Now, the data that we're going to use for this example is a little outdated. I got this example from a colleague from many years ago, before Pluto was demoted. And so we still have 9 planets at that point. And at some point, when I worked out this example, I had updated the number of moons from their original example, which was extremely outdated, to something that was a little bit more current at the time that I recorded this. And then since the time that I actually grabbed all these screenshots, the number of moons, particularly for Jupiter and Saturn, have exploded. And then, of course, Pluto got demoted. And I decided I was going to update the numbers, but not update how many planets there were. So this is not a video about how many planets there are. It's just an example to work through how to do this statistics. So all of the data here is sort of in that intermediate stage between not completely outdated, but not as recent as the more up-to-date numbers. Feel free, as you're doing this example, to use the more updated numbers and do what you want with Pluto. That's not the purpose of this video. But what we're going to do is we're going to first enter the data into the list. Now, there is another video that I made about how to do that, entering data into the list. But very quickly, you're going to press the stat button. And then inside that list, you're going to get to the edit screen and then enter the data into the list. If you have data there that's shorter, then you can just type over it. If it's longer, you do need to clear the list. And so I refer you to one of my other videos. Once you have the data into the list, as we have in this screenshot, then we're going to be able to do our calculations of all the statistics. So from this point, go back to the main screen and then press stat again. And again, the stat button is going to be the third one over on the second row from the left. And you're going to, inside that menu, scroll over from the edit where you get started over to the calc menu. And then we're going to select the one variable stats. Now, and then again, you don't have to go anywhere because it's the top one on the screen, and then just press enter. Now, if you're using the stat wizard will actually look something like this. If you're looking at the 1var at the sort of older classic mode, then the 1var stats command is going to show up on the main screen. And then what you want to do is you want to specify in both of these cases the list where the data is stored. So here you would type second 1 to get L1 as the list that you want to calculate the statistics on. If you don't specify, L1 will be the list that it automatically calculates. In the stat wizard mode, again, you would specify L1 here as the list, and then scroll down and hit calculate. On the main screen, just go ahead and press enter once you've pulled up the L1. And then both of the outputs will basically be the same, but it will require more than one screen to display it all. So you will need to scroll down. Using the slightly older data, you get a mean of 19.78 roughly. It is going to give you some intermediate calculation values, the sum of all the x's, the sum of all the x squareds. Those are sometimes useful for doing other calculations, but for most of our purposes, we can ignore it. The first value, Sx, is the sample standard deviation, and sigma x is the population standard deviation. Now, if we consider this all of the moons in the all of the planets with moons in the solar system, then we would use the population value. Most of the time, however, when we're doing sample statistics, we should think of the data as a sample, in which case you want to report this first standard deviation value, not the second one. There were 9 entries, at least when I used all of the data I have available. The minimum is 0. Mercury and Venus have no moon, so that's the minimum. The first quartile is 0.5. The median is 5, which is where Pluto is actually. Q3 is 44.5, and that's with the old data. And the max is 67. And we saw with the updated data that this would actually be much higher now. Now that we've had satellites in orbit of these planets for so long, we found all the little babies. Now, if you want to sort your lists, for instance, perhaps if you want to find the median or some other ranking thing by yourself, you can also use the functions in the calculator to sort your list, to put it into the order that you would need in order to manually find the minimum or the maximum or what have you. So what you do is when you go back to the stat screen, you would select in the edit menu, you would scroll down to sort A, that's sort ascending. Sort D is sort descending. So sort ascending will start with the smallest value and then go up. And sort descending will start with the largest value and then go down. And then when this comes up on the screen, you would again specify L1, since we're sorting list 1, and then hit enter. And when it says done, you can go back to your list and you will see that the list has indeed been sorted. Again, in either ascending or descending order if you choose sort D. So that is another way to find both the min, the max, and other things like the median by hand.